All right, quick visit downtown Tampa to Water Street, to the big Edition Hotel back there behind me. So the guy who built this district, the designer behind all this, is coming back for a reunion in Tampa. He's heading up a big project in Ybor City. We're gonna get to that. Let's talk about Gasworks. But I wanna talk about a couple other big changes in Tampa that are gonna make Tampa a city of the future. And that's what that designer said. He's so excited about Tampa overall. Okay, here on the Living in Tampa channel, we talk a lot about Tampa's growth. We talk a lot about it related to population growth, suburbs, housing, big housing, small housing, all kinds of things like that. But it's gonna change a lot more in the next 5 years, and in ways that not many of us had predicted. Now, there are a few cities in the US that even say people from other countries think of when they think of coming to the US to kind of have this certain experience. I can tell that Tampa is trying to become one of those. And right now, what are those cities? They're New York, LA, Chicago, DC, Dallas, maybe some other ones there through the middle of the country, Nashville, Austin, some places like that, Denver. But then what would it take for Tampa to become one of those? So we're gonna talk about 5 giant projects that are currently happening. Now, one of them isn't quite approved yet, but it seems like it will happen. 5 giant projects. Now, they make up about $1 billion in funding, but there's a lot more going on than that in the Tampa area. I just want to focus on these 5 for now. Also, I'm Sam with Living in Tampa. Give us a call, text, or email anytime. If there's anything real estate related we can help you with, we'd love to chat. All right, the first project I want to talk about is the Moffett Cancer Center, adding on an $84 million hotel. This is super exciting. And there are a couple areas in the US and across the world that we think of in terms of kind of medical tourism, especially cancer treatment. MD Anderson in Houston is the main one that I think of. Maybe that's because I grew up in Oklahoma and people talked about it, but I know it's well known. Moffett is trying to become that. So Moffett's very connected to the University of South Florida, right there in the middle of the campus, kind of connected to the USF Health Hospital there as well. They have a big treatment center and research center there. And then of course they're adding a new research center, 50,000 square feet, just up in Angeline neighborhood, just south of Angeline neighborhood, Orlando Lakes. Really cool spot just off of the toll road. So visitors to Moffett currently generate about 68,000 hotel room stays per year, and this will accommodate about half of their demand. So there still will be a lot of these guests going to other hotels, other Airbnbs, and things like that. One of the reasons this development is so interesting to me is because I've had a lot of people reach out through the YouTube channel and ask, hey, we're coming to Moffett for 3 months. My husband is going there for treatment for cancer. Where should we stay? Can you help us find an Airbnb? Can you help us find a short-term rental? This really helps accommodate that. Now, not only does it accommodate it there, but then it minimizes the demand kind of elsewhere so that finding that accommodation could be a lot easier. And people do come here for long stretches because it is such a high-level cancer treatment center. People come for months at a time, so their family wants to come visit them. Having a place right there at Moffett would be super nice. And this place is going to be really nice. So scheduled to be finished in 2028. This will change Tampa and make it more of this kind of medical destination. Of course, this will create jobs, mostly though tourism jobs, mostly like hosting jobs. Yeah, some medical jobs will probably come for it, but this also accommodates other doctors being able to come and be at the facility for longer stretches. And it really just kind of opens up not just an economic impact where people are here spending money, but where the city just gets viewed differently because of this kind of development. All right, next development, a little more playful. Big Ferris wheel being built in downtown Tampa. Right over there by the cruise ships. You can see from this drone shot exactly where it will be. Super cool, 250-foot Ferris wheel with enclosed gondolas, 20 to 30-minute rides. Now the views to the east are not great. It's a working port, it's a shipyard. To the west, you've got water, you've got the bay, you've got downtown, you've got over to the beaches you'll be able to see from all the way up there. This will be really cool. And I like even the icon of it. To have a Ferris wheel in the downtown of a city is not that common in the US. I mean, it's not that common in the world, but to have one of those right here, I think that will be super exciting. And this will just help downtown get more and more filled out with these kinds of things. So the Ferris wheel is called the Tampa Wow. 250 feet, enclosed gondolas, expected to open next year, $20 million of private money. So no taxpayer money involved in this. Pretty hard to deny something when someone else is just paying for it. Now, as expected, there's already been some local pushback. People think it could be kind of an eyesore, kind of gimmicky. Honestly, because I talked to so many people that are thinking about moving here, I think it would be a really interesting draw to the area. It also just adds a little bit more to do downtown, because downtown is not that big. Yeah, you've got what's now the Benchmark Arena, it used to be Amalie, where the Tampa Bay Lightning play. There's concerts and comedy and all kinds of stuff there. You've got some other stuff kind of along the water, but you don't have much in terms of attractions here downtown. So I think this would add a nice layer. You know, it's a great place to come have dinner and come see a show. But beyond that, you're not really gonna come back the next day. So this would just kind of create another layer. All right, next on the list is AI. Now, a couple big AI things happening, specifically with the colleges. And we'll talk about how I think that will affect employment and other industry around here. But USF, University of South Florida, and UF, University of Florida, which is in Gainesville, not in Tampa, are both building AI wings here, essentially. Now, wings is kind of a strong word. For USF, it's kind of like that. For UF, which we'll get into, it's more of a research facility, but very, very interesting. So between the two of these big projects, it's about $85 million in investment into education and AI. But let me explain exactly what that means. For USF, they're building a big campus specifically for AI education. So this new building will be done by mid-2028. Currently, there are already 3,000 students enrolled in some kind of AI program at USF. Now they have certificate programs for professionals, and they have big programs like AI computing. Now, they need more infrastructure to keep this education growing, and they're projected to get to 5,000 students by 2028. Still not super huge, but how far are people going to take this once they really start learning different ways to implement it? So the connection between USF and MacDill Air Force Base are being talked about in the midst of this, which I think is super interesting. Not only is AI valuable for all the things we see it doing now, art and technology and speed and chat and all these kind of integrations we see in our daily life, but as everything grows, it's going to be needed more and more in industry. Now, often the military is the one to advance those kind of things for us, because they can, spend the money maybe a little more freely, or they can apply things because they're such a big organization. Look at how many employees the Department of Defense has. So MacDill Air Force Base is an Air Force base, but it's also Central Command and Special Operations Command. So they're also pushing technology even further. This connection and integration, I think, is super valuable. There's a lot of government contractors, military contractors in the area that are already integrated with MacDill in various ways. I actually have one client that bought a house with me. Works for a government contractor that manages government contractors. There's all kinds of layers. There's Lockheed here. There's big contractors of all kinds. So the University of Florida is a different investment, but I just kind of wanted to lump these together because they're both state schools doing AI stuff. This is an agricultural AI center in Wimauma. Wimauma is southeast of the Tampa area, still in Hillsborough County, but down in the southeast. So this is a state and federally funded agricultural research center. This will be 50,000 square feet, giant research center. And it will be fully operational by 2027 with 90 research employees. Interestingly, this project is a direct collaboration with NVIDIA, that super valuable company that's building a lot of these GPUs that power all the AI. And it's specifically focused on agricultural efficiency and automation. I'm really curious kind of what will come of that. So Bellini is a big hedge fund. They're one of the big investors into the USF project. I like this quote from them. It says, Bellini wants to create a tech ecosphere in the Tampa Bay region where business, industry, and military and USF can create synergy that will include new high-paying jobs. It involves multiple players and has the potential to create a lot of high-paying jobs. I like that. I like that it's not one player, it's not one type of job. It's jobs that will trickle down into the industries and businesses that are affected by them. Another thing talked about, which I think is a big deal, is actually the talent pipeline that will be created by these schools. And specifically by USF, by training specific AI, cybersecurity, integration with military, integration with business and industry. And also we have one of the busiest ports in the state, in the South, here in Tampa. There's a lot of things that could be affected by all of this AI training. All right, and finally, let's talk about Gasworks. Gasworks is interesting for a lot of reasons. Now, Ybor City is the spot where it's being developed. So a big mixed-use development in Ybor City is big news. But what even stands out more to me is how the designer is talking about it. So it's the same designer that built the Water Street development, and he's gone on to other cities to do other things since then. Charlotte, Austin, Nashville. He came back to this because he's so excited about the urban walkable thing that it will create in an area that doesn't currently have a lot of residents. Now, Ybor City currently has about 3,000 residents. There's not a lot of housing there. This will add some more housing, about 5,000 more housing units in a really cool kind of inner city walkable kind of place. So cool, big development, maintaining some of the history of the area. The designer, developers, super excited about it. Not that surprising. $500 million, over $500 million going into this 56-acre project. And I want to read some of the quotes from the article where he's talking about it. So this designer, James Nozar, exactly what he's saying and why he's so excited about it. So he says, I think it's going to be one of the best neighborhoods in the region, if not the world. Tampa has accelerated in a lot of ways ahead of those cities like Charlotte, Nashville, and Austin from a real estate perspective. So here, kind of talking about his past with Water Street, he says Water Street was an ambitious project and the intent was to kind of help shape the perspective of Tampa, i.e. make it seem nicer. It paved the way for projects like Gasworks and others that have sprouted up around downtown. And the reality is, this is a busy port downtown. Yeah, there's the aquarium, there's the stadium, there's the cruise ship launch, but it's still a very busy port and it's been that way for 20, 30, 40 years. Been very busy at the port. Now, it's just turning into a place where I'm out here right now, lunchtime, everybody's walking to lunch, everybody's working, it's active, people are running on the trails, people are walking their dogs. It's an active, fun downtown now. All right, just a quick wrap up here. We got medical tourism, big medical boom that's gonna come from that. Moffett Hotel, super exciting, $84 million hotel. Next, we've got a tourism excitement. We got a new big Ferris wheel coming to downtown Tampa, the Tampa Wow. Next, we've got AI schools and education and high-paying jobs coming through USF and UF, both that will partner with big agriculture developments and with MacDill Air Force Base. And then finally, we've got the Gasworks development, which is taking a place like Ybor City, which has been a great place to party, and making it into a cool place to live in a lot of ways, keeping the charm, keeping so many of those things. And if you made it to the end of the video, I definitely want to hear from you. I'd love to know your thoughts on these big developments, how it would affect your perception of the area. Also, just want to know if you have any real estate questions for me. After you call, text, or email, what we'll do is we'll hop on a Zoom call. We'll just process your situation, your move, your potential job, and see how we can help, see how we can add value at the stage you're at right now. So give us a call, text, or email anytime. Thanks for coming by.